Good morning, good morning. Buenos dias. My name is Vanessa Ibarra, and I'm the Director for the Mayor's Office of International Affairs for the City of Atlanta. And it is my great pleasure to be your moderator today and moderate the fourth track that we're having this week, which focuses on families and childcare. The session today is entitled Inform Women, Transform Lives, meets Women in the Workplace. I would like to first and foremost start by thanking those that have made this possible. First and foremost, the Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative, with the leadership of their Executive Director, Monica Dolores Hooks, her team, Ashley and Mary, the labs for this platform, Invest Atlanta, One Atlanta, and WorkSource Atlanta for partnering for this week-long event. And of course, the many speakers that are joining us here today to share with us timely and life-changing information for our audience. And for those that are joining us as well, I would like to welcome the members of the Consular Corps and international partners. Before we get started, please know that you'll be able to ask questions after the presentations by submitting your questions in the chat box. For those of you that speak Spanish, we went ahead and added a button below, which will take you to the Spanish interpreted session. Buenos días todo el mundo, me llamo Vanessa Ibarra y soy la directora del Departamento Internacional de la Ciudad de Atlanta. Tenemos esta sesión en español. Si miran debajo de esta ventanita, pueden ver las instrucciones y ahí podrán oír todo este programa en español. And so why is the Office of International Affairs involved with the Women in the Workplace event? Through our work, our office focuses on many different areas, whether it be trade, particularly for women through the Women Export University program, diplomacy, education, culture, sports, and attraction of global events. In recent years, our office and many offices that are focused on international affairs in the United States and across the world are focused on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. As part of the goals, and specifically for this session, our office is focused on goals number 5, based on gender equality, number 10, reduce inequalities, number 1, no poverty, and number 17, partnerships for the goals. And last year, the city of Atlanta had incredible opportunity, along with 12 other cities around the world, such as Chicago, Buenos Aires, Dublin, just to name a few, to be the very first cohort for a global campaign entitled Inform Women, Transform Lives. A global campaign focused on raising awareness about women's right to information and to increase the number of women accessing key information from their municipal governments. Because we know that by empowering women, not only do they uplift themselves, their families, but also their communities, which also improves our local economy and our global economy. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Laura Newman, the director of the Rule of Law program at the Carter Center, who has been a key partner in making this campaign a success, and my partner in crime, Sissy Weldon, the project manager at One Atlanta. As part of the campaign, the city of Atlanta has worked to promote the various services and programs the city provides, because something we realized is that information is all over the place. And we really want to have a place where women can access this information easily. And so if you go on the atlstrong.org page, on the Inform Women tab, you will be able to see all the various services and initiatives that the city of Atlanta provides. We have focused on gender-based violence. We have focused on health, economic mobility, community safety, just to name a few, because we know this information is essential. And for those of you that do not have access to the internet, you can also dial 311 to receive information about these various services. I could talk on and on about the campaign, but instead we have a video to show you. And for the Spanish version, please be sure to click on the link and select Español. With that, we leave you the video.
When you're in the dark, life can be hard to navigate, and solutions may feel out of reach. For women in our city and around the world, it can be even more challenging to access the services we need. And without a clear way forward, we hit a dead end. Fortunately, we have a right to information, and information is power. Power to transform our lives, our families, and our communities. Informed women can secure municipal services like clean water, improved infrastructure, and electricity. Services that meet our basic needs. Informed women can draw on social protections like job training, disability allowances, and food subsidies, enabling us to improve our lives. And informed women can have meaningful voices by participating in public meetings, being a part of decision-making, and engaging local officials, all of which strengthen our communities. Informed women can access the kinds of benefits that benefit us all. And with the support of our city government, neighbours and family members, we can build communities that are more secure, peaceful and prosperous. Inform women. Transform lives.
Isn't the video great? Please be on the lookout for the campaign signs at the airport, soon on MARTA. And if you want to receive more information that is specific to women and about the campaign, please text info for women to 888-777. I repeat, info for women to 888-77. Now let's get to why we're really here today. As many of you know, I love to kick things off with some statistics. And did you know that 40% of low-income families have to choose between diapers and food for their child? 20% of low-income women report missing work, school, or similar events due to the lack of access of period supplies. And 25% of working parents said they couldn't use childcare because they didn't have adequate supply of diapers. And 1 in 3 women in Georgia can't afford diapers. After nearly 20 years as a social worker or first speaker, Jamie Lackey, founder and CEO of Helping Mamas, saw firsthand that the mothers she served couldn't afford the basic needs for their babies and children. So in 2014, she took action and founded Helping Mamas with a mission to collect and donate baby supplies to organizations who serve women and children in need in Georgia. Please help me give a virtual round of applause to Jamie. Jamie, welcome to our session, and the floor is yours.
Hi, thanks, Vanessa. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm honored to be on this panel with everyone and speaking with you all today. We started Helping Mamas. I started Helping Mamas because I feel like there were barriers to women being able to be successful and thrive in the workplace. As the statistics show, one of the things that we want to do is remove those barriers. And we want to not only remove those barriers for women, but for children to succeed as well. So a lot of people don't know that without an adequate supply of diapers, you can't take your child to childcare, and without childcare, you can't work. And so those are huge barriers that we were seeing across the board and across the country. And we're proud to work with over 200 diaper banks and period supply banks across the country to help alleviate this need. The way Helping Mamas works is we collect these items and we partner with incredible people like the City of Atlanta and other organizations. I see the Atlanta Community Food Bank is on as well. And we partner with and go out onto events and distribute these essential items to women and children as they have these needs, with the goal and the hope that we are keeping women gainfully and successfully engaged in the workplace and in their communities if that is what they would like. We also offer several mobile programs as an attempt to reach all of the communities that we need. And so you can often call our offices if you need help and you need services to find out where you can access, where we're going to be distributing, and how to get those diapers. And if you have a social service agency that you are wanting to participate with us, you can always reach out to us. Helpingmamas.org is a great place to find out about us and a great way to find out how to get access to these incredibly needed services so that we can keep families thriving. One of the things that Vanessa said that I absolutely love, and what we say over and over again, is that when women thrive, their families thrive. And when families thrive, our communities thrive. And that is what we're about. And that is why we are here, is to make sure that no mom, no parent, no one has to choose between food and diapers for their children again. We want to remove those barriers. You know, we say often a lot that if you send a child to school and they're hungry, they can't learn. Well, if you send a parent into a job or job training and they're worried about the next diaper or their period products or the basic essentials for their children, they can't perform either. And so having access to these critical supplies is helping us make sure that women are moving forward. They're represented in the workforce. We want to keep them engaged, and also so that their children can engage in really critical things like early childhood education, because that is the first step to them having long, successful education careers and then future careers as well.
Thank you, Jamie. And so I will add also, in addition to the great work that Jamie has been doing with helping mamas, she's been working very closely and she's been a great partner to the city of Atlanta. Recently, she's actually been working with the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, where they work together to provide hygiene items to support 200 immigrant detainees being released to their care. And also the fact that they've been able to provide diapers, courier products, and other essential care items for the families they serve in the city of Atlanta. So thank you very much, Jamie, for this important work that you do.
Thank you for having me.
So up next, it is no secret that many constituents in the city of Atlanta, state, and the nation are impacted by food insecurity. During the pandemic, the food bank saw a 300% increase in inquiries from people seeking food assistance due to the increased demand. The food bank is distributing between 30% and 40% more food each week. Our next speaker, Esteban Gonzalez, is the Senior Manager in Benefits Outreach for the Atlanta Community Food Bank. And as the Senior Manager, Esteban manages the Benefits Outreach Program, which screens for public assistance programs and provides application assistance to those who are eligible. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, Esteban. The floor is yours. Thank you for joining us.
All right, thank you, Vanessa. And thank you for Jamie for sharing her information first and doing that, because that is something, just that simple need of, or not that simple, diapers, right? Is essential. And so many things that can't happen without that essential thing. And that's where food falls in. It's one of those essential needs and common things in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and that falls in there. And so food is at the very base of that. And with the food bank overall, what we do, like I said, our numbers blew up this past year in how many people we're seeing with COVID. We're already seeing serving not just Atlanta, all of Northwest Georgia is what's considered our service area, because we're part of the Feeding America network, and we've seen growth throughout, especially in key points. And then probably this information I just found out yesterday, one of our biggest areas of growth is in the Latino community. And for my team in particular, is we help with the SNAP benefits primarily, also known food stamps, and then Medicaid is probably our second largest thing. And a lot of people don't know that we assist with Medicaid as well. And the people who are primarily accessing our assistance when it comes to Medicaid, especially, are women in the work field and in the workplace, knowing that having healthcare for the children, one, it lowers the cost, right? We know that's the big benefit of lowering the cost, and then two, just allows that mother to put her resources to other things, right? And so we got Medicaid. Medicaid's plenty of benefits a lot of people already understand, and food stamps we know also as well when it comes to food insecurity, and just providing that stability to these families, to these people, so they can focus on other things. So focus on not just having work and not getting just to work on time, and not worrying about whether your child has food in the morning or not. And thank you for the slides. Go to the next slide, and that's the initial group, and it's our current building here. We just moved this past year, but knowing, again, getting back to we talk about not just surviving but thriving. Those things, they are cliche, but they're cliche for a reason. If we go to the next slide, because it's true, and that's something we want to do. And like I was saying, this is our service area. So we share the border with the Tennessee border with the Chattanooga Food Bank. But all of Northwest Georgia, we have people going out and we're seeing people, my team doing outreach, going directly to where people are. So we don't do any application assistance pretty much directly at the food bank. We're going out to our partner pantries. We're going out to Grady's clinics, the Brookhaven clinic, and for example, and we're going to where people are, because we know transportation is a barrier, and we know time is a barrier. And so if someone's taking their child to a doctor's appointment, whether we can help you get assisted with benefits at the same time. And that is how the food bank operates, is through a partner network. And you can go to the next slide. It is through a partner network. You see 29 counties, over 700 partners, over 750,000 people served through those partners. So we provide the food. Generally, that's what we do. We provide the food, we collect the food, sourcing it, and then get it out to the partners who do the direct service. My team is unique in that we provide the direct service of application assistance. You can go to the next one. And it comes right down to it, trying to end hunger in our community. And this is focusing on our Get Help page. So people who do need help can click on that symbol and go to the next slide. And again, this is how to find those partners. Again, we have over 700 partners. They're all over, and encourage people to try to go out and reach out to them that way. You can go to the next slide. And this is a thing that we introduced during COVID, is the text food, find food, or comida, and allowing people to have another method of quickly accessing pantry information that's near them. And we've done a better job this past year too, again, recognizing that time is a barrier, that people who need help and who got to go to work, got a break from work, then, all right, I want to quickly be able to do something. So we've tried to make that as something as quick as possible. And then also putting more details in about our pantries in there as well. And go to the last slide. And that's against our program. So we have a phone number people can call, English and Spanish assisted. There's some people who speak a little bit of Portuguese as well. But again, focusing on these main programs, SNAP and Medicaid have well-researched impacts on the users, whether they're people who are kind of cycling in quickly because crisis has hit, as we've seen in the past year and change, or if it's something where just life circumstances have changed. So, a person who now has a child or is pregnant and get on a pregnant Medicaid. And I was looking up the eligibility, just to remember what it is. So like for a single person, I do a 3 household, for example, 3-person household, it's just under $2,400 a month that someone can make. So we know a majority of our community and the majority of people throughout the country fall within that or close to that. So it doesn't take much to have someone become eligible, and want to make sure people got their resources that are available.
Thank you, Esteban, for the presentation and for all the great work that you all do, and for making it, as you said, very easy for people to be able to text, and also for catering the different languages, as you mentioned, Spanish and Portuguese. So a key thread that I'm seeing here throughout these various presentations is the importance of partnerships. And another key area is data, in order to have an accurate picture of our strengths and weaknesses. The next organization that we're going to have speaking here focuses on this very topic, data, and provides leaders, state agencies, and policymakers with reliable data to inform decisions about improving outcomes for the children, families, and communities they service. Our next speaker, her name is Marcel Johnson. She works with the Georgia Family Connection Partnership, where she serves as a regional manager who provides training and technical assistance to 10 Metro Atlanta Family Connection to various communities in Region 3. She's also a trained equity facilitator with the organization Race, Equity, and Inclusion team. Marcel, it is a pleasure to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's especially a pleasure to, have heard both Jamie's and Esteban's presentations and the great work that they do. Like Vanessa said, I am with the Georgia Family Connection Partnership, and we are a statewide organization that supports community collaboratives that are doing work to improve outcomes for children, families, and their communities. We believe that we communicate, connect, and count what matters for children and families. And so we began about 30 years ago now, when then Governor Zell Miller and his cabinet, his executive cabinet, kind of looked at what was the then kids count indicators provided by the Annie E. Casey Foundation, where they ranked each of the states in terms of how well they were doing for children and families around health, education, self-sufficiency, and now even thriving communities. And so at that particular time, Georgia ranked 48 out of 50 states. And the powers that be said, we can do better and we're going to do better. And so at that time, Georgia Family Connection was born. And the idea here was that in each of our 159 counties, there would be a table in the community where partners will come together to discuss the issues that they faced as a community and to come up with strategies to address those issues based on data and then holding themselves accountable for results. And so today, we have all of these community collaboratives in each of our counties. And in Atlanta, at our local level, it is the Atlanta Fulton Family Connection. And so that, if you go to our website, which is gafcp.org, you can search and find any community collaborative in Georgia. It will give you contact information and who both the coordinator is for that collaborative as well as the collaborative board chair. And so here in Fulton County, our collaborative has been hard at work for a number of years, working on a kind of early education and health strategy to address specific populations in the Atlanta metro area. So one of the things we know is that in some of our smaller rural counties, they may be able to address issues on a county-wide kind of basis. We looked at one of our smallest community collaboratives in Tolliver County, and the whole county is about 1,800 people. Well, we know in Metro Atlanta, our county is much, much larger than that. And so our community collaborative in Atlanta Fulton is working in specific zip codes in hopes of kind of piloting the strategy and moving it in different locations as the data indicates. And so this community collaborative in Atlanta Fulton is working on a number of issues. One of those issues is working with new moms and trying to ensure that the expectant and new moms receive information, supplies, and support around WIC. In looking at the data, we saw that in many areas in Georgia, the WIC resources for women, infants, and children are seriously underused. And so the objective there is to promote and increase WIC usage by families in these priority areas. Another thing that community collaborative in Atlanta Fulton County is doing is outreach to early learning centers. We know that for a number of years here in Georgia, we have had the quality rated process where we're trying to, increase the effectiveness, the skill level of our early learning centers. And so here we've been working on increasing the knowledge of families of the importance of attending quality rated centers. The Atlanta Fulton Collaborative is also working around some areas around tutoring and mentoring in selected schools. They're working with a program called Cooking with Choices to try to encourage our families to eat healthier. And of course, they're trying to increase the number of school-based health care centers in the Atlanta Fulton County area. And one of the most recent things that they are involved with is a program called Grandma's Hands, in which they're supporting kinship caregivers who are taking care of, usually in many cases, their grandmothers, their grandkids, by providing supports, utility assistance, anything that those grandmothers need to help take care of their children. And so that's a little bit about the Atlanta Fulton County Family Connection. But again, if you go to gafcp.org, you can find out contact information and contact any of our community collaboratives across Georgia. Thank you.
And Marcel, I know there's a video here that you share with us. So at this moment, we'll be sharing it with everybody.
Thank you.
The growth and prosperity of our state is deeply rooted in our communities and the health and productivity of the children and families within them. But hardworking families across Georgia find themselves struggling to become and remain healthy and self-sufficient. And while help is available, it's often not accessible. Our most vulnerable citizens get lost in the complexities of a disconnected and overly stressed system, and efforts to meet their needs are fragmented, missing, or unnecessarily duplicated. In both the private and public sectors, it's not enough to work hard for our children and families. We must work for them together. Georgia Family Connection was established to meet the desperate need for a statewide organization to disentangle the mess of barriers, service gaps, and inefficiencies obscuring progress and positive community outcomes. With the legacy of sorting complex issues and achieving lasting impact, we foster relationships between community leaders, investors, and lawmakers advocating for system changes. As the only statewide organization of its kind, with partners in all 159 counties, we have a unique vantage point that allows us to see the big picture while operating effectively at a local level. Our powerful network of collaboratives crafts local solutions based on local decisions. Every day, they tackle the challenging work necessary to realize sustained improvement in the conditions, prospects, and outcomes for our local children and families. In this vast web of people and services, every relationship matters, and every connection holds possibility. Georgia Family Connection maintains, simplifies, and supports this social infrastructure. Across 5 key result areas, none of which can be considered without the others, we leverage disciplined collaboration to yield a measurable collective impact. Together, we envision a Georgia where all children are healthy, primed for school, and succeed when they get there, and where strong families contribute to vibrant, robust communities that thrive. Together, we can forge lasting positive change for children and families. Together, we can ensure a bright future for Georgia. And together starts with a conversation. So, let's talk.
And Vanessa, if I could add one more thing as I...
Absolutely. Go ahead, Marcel.
So I started with the story that in 1991, we ranked 48 out of the 50 states. I'm glad to report that in 2021, we rank 38 out of 50 states. And so we know that change doesn't always come quickly, but if we continue to work together and talk about the issues and come up with solutions together, that change can come for our children and families. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcel, and congratulations on your 30th anniversary for the organization. And so it is clear how important it is not to only work hard, but to connect the dots in order to make a sustainable impact on the lives of our children, the communities, and our families. As I mentioned on the chat box, it is lagging a little bit. So I want to be mindful that we are going to be answering your questions. Before we open the floor up for questions, I want to make you aware of the session that is coming up at 1 o'clock. If you have the time, please do join us. This session is entitled Empowering Women and Communities. And you will hear from organizations such as the Georgia Early Education Alliance for Ready Students, the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning, and the Office of Parks and Recreation, specifically the Centers of Hope. And I also want to make you aware of an upcoming event that we have on Saturday, which is part of the city's Elevate event. And I'm telling you all this because we would like to take this opportunity to invite all those that would be interested in coming as part of the Inform Women Transform Lives campaign. We are working on a mural. Our muralist, Sarah Newberger, will be painting. She has actually started already. And on Saturday from 2 to 6, we're asking members of the community to join and paint. If you're interested in registering, there is a link that will be shared on the group chat box. And so we look forward to seeing you there. And before I open up the floor for questions, I would like to share a video from Mayor Bottoms talking about the Inform Women Transform Lives campaign.
Hello, I'm Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, and I'm delighted to share with you information about a campaign that the City of Atlanta is participating in with the Carter Center and 12 other global cities, the Inform Women, Transform Lives campaign. This campaign supports our city's equity agenda by ensuring that women in Atlanta have access to information that can help strengthen them, their families, and communities. Atlanta's local campaign, Inform Women, Strengthen Communities, is connecting women to city services and programs, which we all know is important as we continue to navigate the COVID-19 pandemic. To learn more about the campaign, please visit atlstrong.org or atl311.com or call 311 if you're in Atlanta. Thank you.
As y'all know, our mayor is very much focused on equity, diversity, and inclusion, and we are very thankful for all the steps that she has taken to also support and empower women. So with that, we're very much ahead of schedule, which is a first, but very glad that we're gonna have more time to hear from the audience. And I'm looking right now, and I don't see any questions. And so if there are no questions, I have some that I would like to ask our panelists today. So the first question, and this is to whichever panelist wishes to answer, I would like for you all to share with us one of the most impactful stories of the work that you have done, whose lives you've very much changed. If you can share that with the audience, that would be fantastic.
Let's see here.
I can share. You know, we're so fortunate to get to serve so many individuals, and some of the favorite, you know, we just love serving women in particular, and particularly our teen moms. And years ago when we first started, we had a teen mom who was working really hard just to graduate from high school, was in a rough situation and just needed a little extra support. And her social workers at her high school had gone above and beyond to make sure she had access to transportation to get to school, that her child's childcare provider was meeting her at school, all just to get an opportunity to graduate from high school. And the missing piece was diapers for daycare, as well as a car seat for transportation. And so because of that, we were able to provide those things to this fabulous mom and help her continue her education so she could graduate from high school, because she knew if she could just graduate from high school, it would change the complete trajectory of her life and her child's life. And sometimes I think we get caught up in thinking that we have to do big, massive things to impact our community, but it really is the small, everyday things like a box of diapers or a car seat that has such incredible impact on the lives of our individual community members. So we're so grateful that we had that opportunity to impact this particular mom.
Thank you for sharing that story, Jamie. Anybody else from the speakers today that would like to share a story that really resonated with them?
Well, I'll be glad to share. I think that one of the beauties of having a collaborative partnership is that not any one entity has to always provide what's needed. And so what we're seeing kind of all around the region, because I work with 10 counties in the metro area, is, an increase in evictions, housing evictions. And so what we're seeing now is partners kind of come together and try to put the word out when somebody's evicted, to at least provide something temporary, be it, a temporary stay for a period of time in a hotel until something can be done to kind of help that particular family find more stable housing. And so I think that with the Atlanta Fulton County Collaborative, what they kind of have is kind of a calling tree or an email tree where they're able to reach out to specific partners for specific needs, even if they're not directly providing it themselves. We've seen it in the, school arena where they've, had to provide school supplies for families, or provide utilities for families, or kind of anything that's in the COVID pandemic age is really stressing families. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcel. And Esteban, any stories that you would like to share with the audience here today?
Yeah, I think the one, and this is a recent one we had with, we're undergoing strategic plan refresh, and one of the things we were doing as part of that was getting focus groups with clients we served in the past. And at the end, the clients wanted to make sure they shared some thanks to the coordinators on my team that assisted them. We had one in particular, all of them agreed just that being treated kindly, right? And when you're in need and when you're seeking help, you feel extra vulnerable. And having someone assist you in a way that is respectful and with kindness is appreciated, because it's not the norm. So that is something that was the first part of it. There's that very basic layer of, just treat people well, right? To people, especially when they're feeling vulnerable, that is extra important at the time. But then we had one of the situations was there's a mother who actually had was, beginning of COVID, was having the issues and kind of those fears of where, can I reduce the places that I go? And, the SNAP benefit was during COVID, and it's still going right now. Everyone was put to the max benefit. So with that, their household, it just allowed them to, they were just saying how, they had this fear, right? Legit fear, right? Of COVID, especially early, we just didn't know, right? There was no vaccine available. There was just, everything was heightened, and that assistance and the assistants through the whole process of getting those benefits, and then they're the maximum benefits, reduce the amount of times they had to leave. So, okay, I got to go to work. But, you know, I know we got more food benefits coming in, and then at the same time, the Amazon change happened where people could use their SNAP EBT to buy the Amazon fresh food. So it's just one of those things where it just lessened the fear, right? And just knowing that when we're going through tough times, or we're going through times that are very stressful, anything that's going to help us, you know, take away some of that stress is appreciated. And that was one of the things that particular individual wanted to make clear that they were appreciative of, because it was just so much at the same time. Her children, the school closing, all this stuff happening at the same time. And the assistance we were able to provide at least removed a few of those concerns and allowed her to focus on what she needed to focus on.
Thank you, Esteban. And this is really important across the board, the importance of being kind, understanding, empathetic, because as you mentioned, a lot of folks are coming because they really need help. And it's okay for them to be vulnerable. It's okay for them to ask for support, because oftentimes many of us do not have the resources, and this is when we really need our community. We do have a few questions that have popped up, so I'm going to read a few of them. The first question is from Anna Petrova. How can we help volunteer our time or resources to these organizations?
Well, again, the food bank, that's what we rely on. We rely on our partnerships. We also rely on volunteers. We are accepting, again, volunteers directly at our food bank. And we do have kind of processes and stuff in place to make it a little safer. But that's, you know, sorting food is the number one thing we always need assistance with directly at the food bank. All of our partners rely on volunteers in their distributions, the direct distribution. So people can volunteer directly at the food bank in sorting, and that's key. Or they can volunteer directly at our partner pantry. So it's churches, different nonprofit organizations who are doing food distribution. So they all depend on volunteers. So most of our partners, of those 700 partners, I would say a third have paid staff. And that's probably a high estimate. They are fully relying on volunteers, people within the community. So, you know, we showed in the slides the Pantry Locator, so our agency locator, you know, that can be used to say, okay, what's the pantry that's closest to me that I can volunteer at? So people can volunteer directly with the food bank, or they can volunteer at any of our partners, because our partners always need more volunteers.
So for us, if you want to go to helpingmamas.org, MAMAS.org, and there's a Get Involved page, and it's a immediate sign up. You can come in and help us volunteer in our warehouse and help us get things sorted and organized. We have mobile distribution days that people can sign up and volunteer if you feel safer volunteering outside. And you can also do really fabulous things like host drives and make kits for the families that we serve. And all of that is on our webpage. And we live for our volunteers and are so, so happy to have them back safely and socially distanced, but we have them back and we're thrilled to have people involved.
For us, if you go to gafcp.org, search for whatever county you're interested in becoming involved with that collaborative. One of the things we believe is that the information is in the room, and in order for that to happen, we need a diversity of thoughts. that participates in the collaborative process. And if you're specifically looking to do hands-on work, they can definitely connect you with any number of nonprofit partners, public service partners that you could become involved with.
Thank you all. There's another question here from Akisi Stokes. Hi, Akisi. What's the best way to refer a person to each organization if they need resources? So you highlighted a few, but I would like to also ask, what if, and we're aware of the digital divide, folks that may not have access to the internet, is there a way for them to perhaps go in person to some of these locations? And has this been impacted by the pandemic? On how people can go in person?
I can say definitely for us, many of our collaboratives are working virtually because some of the locations in which they're normally housed are not open to, it's open to select workers on select days. And so really the best way to get in contact is to use your phone if you can and search the internet, and then you can definitely call and they will respond.
For us, if you want to call our office, if you don't have access to the internet, we have an information and referral person that can help refer you to our organizations that we partner with directly, or tell you about where our next mobile distribution day is so that you can come and participate in that as well. Similar, not all of the partner agencies that we work with are opening and the same way they used to be, but we do have a pretty good list. So you can call us at 770-985-8010 and you'll be guided to the person that can help you.
Yeah, and for us, like it's shown in the slides, people can text find food all together, find food or comida, and that'll get find a pantry near them. And then also they can just call 678-553-5917. Again, 678-553-5917. And that goes to my team, the benefits outreach team, and we can, get people in touch with the application assistance. Then also, if someone wants to speak to someone about a pantry and doesn't want to text, my team will also find information around pantries for anyone. We generally will get people pointed in the right direction for things that we don't do directly. But that is the best ways for us is the text. If they're not able to go online, is to text, find food or comida, or to just call directly, and then we can provide assistance that way.
Fantastic. So we have one more question. And the question is, what can the city do to better support your organization in this important work more broadly? This is a question that I'm also really interested in. So feel free to let us know what it is that we can do to support you all so you can best support our community.
Gosh, I feel like we're so fortunate and have had so much incredible support from the city of Atlanta, from the Welcoming Atlanta office in particular. For us, it's giving us an avenue and a place where we know there's need so that we can set up and distribute items. And if there's a high area of need that the city feels like isn't being met, how can we come in and address that need and get these products out? And I think also connecting us with, key players in the city of Atlanta that are willing to support the work we're doing, that are willing to advocate for us and push forward. We can't continue to grow and have our operations grow if we don't have supporters behind us advocating and champion for us. So I think having that opportunity to have someone champion our cause in the city that allows us to grow and expand would be incredible. But on the flip side, telling us where you guys have resource deserts, you know your cities better than anyone and the best way to reach them. We want to know about it. We want to hear about it. And we want to see if we can get a mobile program in there to address that need.
I totally agree with what Jamie said, but I'd also like to add, Vanessa, because we really are a source of data for the state of Georgia. And so we would like to say, yeah, we need all of those things, resources. We need the city to, kind of help us identify areas that they feel are most in need of, a collaborative effort. But we also believe that we can be a resource to the city as well in terms of providing data on child and family issues in Fulton County and the city of Atlanta.
Yeah, I think, echo what's been said. Those are on the money. I think for us, we've also done work with Welcome in Atlanta in particular during COVID starting and going out into the community with some of the distributions that we're doing. And so I would say just more, okay, how can we partner, right? And thinking about it on the front end. And instead of a lot of times we think about things after we've already planned everything, right? And what the partnership would look like would be different if we thought about it on the front end and maximize that partnership and what the outcomes can be based on let's get it from the beginning, right? So so I would say that, right? Just doing more partnerships, doing more, hey, let's not ask, and we do the same thing as the food bank, where we ask people to join something that's already 99% planned, right? And so if we started at least within that, it could be 15, 20% already planned. We got the very base foundation in there. Let's get people in earlier into the plans so we can make sure things operate the best way possible and that we can take full advantage of that, get as many families out there, get as many women, men, everyone who needs help. We can get best utilizing their time and our time to work to the full potential of the partnership. So I would say that just, making it more of a habit and doing things more frequently, I think would be my ideal situation of how we work with the city of Atlanta.
Thank you all for the honest feedback. And Jamie, I think the mobile option would be a fantastic way for us to work together. And then Marcel, as you mentioned, using you all more as a resource, I think it's very important for the work that we're going to be doing moving forward. And Esteban, it's true, if we can work from the very beginning, it doesn't have to be completely finalized, but if we're there and we bring all the key partners from the very get-go, we can get more results and perhaps we can reach more communities. With that, I also want to share that as part of the Inform Women Transform Lives campaign, which goes on until March 8th, we are looking to have various events. Maybe this is just what we wanted to do, and this is why it's very short, 1 hour, is just to kind of provide the various resources. And then we want to hear from the audience, what did they think was most important to them based on the information that you shared? We want to be able to zero in and really support them and what their current needs are. As you all mentioned, it's very important for us to get close to the community to understand what their needs are and to be able to collect more data in order to really make key decisions. So with that, I don't see any more questions from the audience. I would like to thank our panelists for the great work that you all do. And again, this is just the beginning, and we look forward to working with you all. Muchas gracias. And if there's no more questions, this is the end of today's session. Thank you all. Muchas gracias.